told you. Yeah. Okay. Finally. We're moving up like the Jeffersons. Weezy, what was you gonna be saying about marriage again? It's like a job.
It is.
Agreed. Agreed. So how have you enjoyed your employment? This is a question. uh,
I've been in it so long.
tread lightly. We sleep together. Mm-hmm.
It's not bad.
Not bad.
I mean, I choke the shit out of you sometimes, but
I don't know what famous poet said it best, but you ain't love me if you don't feel like choking me.
oh yeah. What was it? If you ain't Chris Rock,
You ain't
you ain't felt like you ain't felt like
if an episode of the last 48 ain't turned you off, you ain't loving me right.
that's right.
Yeah, sounds about right too.
So this should be 30 years. And it's
Power be the patience. Power be the patience.
right. And communication.
And communication. Communication is difficult. I mean, I don't know. It's not hard, it's not easy, it's just different. I guess when we communicate, you have to be wary of the other person's intake of what you're stating. So
Yeah.
you're constantly working, your mind's constantly going. So that can oftentimes make people really throw gasoline on a burning fire too sometimes, even though it's not meant. Because sometimes you want to tiptoe around it and not be completely frank or blunt because you're afraid you can't handle the truth. So sad but true. But I guess that's the whole point of a relationship. You get to know each other, you learn those boundaries as they change. Because they will change. It's supposed to change anyway, because they're not changing. Something's probably not right in the relationship. One person is being domineering and the other person is being completely submissive. And then you only have one mind. And
Well, I'm not.
Yeah, no, I wasn't talking about you. I was just saying people.
Right.
You know, those people. You know what I'm saying? It's those kind out there, you know? And I know a lot of them.
I think the biggest problem too in African American marriages, the ones that I've noticed, is that most women come into those relationships with trauma.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've come from toxic relationships before the marriage, toxic family interactions before the marriage, so you come in kind of guarded, even though you love this person.
Okay. Well, I don't think that's just an African American issue. I think that's just a people issue because let's face it.
Well, the reason I say it's more of an African American issue is because Black women are some of the most abused and unprotected women in the world.
Well, I would agree that quite 100%. To be 100% accurate, I say they are the most abused, the most unprotected, and sadly, the only way they can really change is if we have a better understanding of what's acceptable by African American men. And unfortunately, because it's so hard for a brother to get a job, keep a job, to have mobility in a job, he feels like his dollar earned is just a little bit more valuable than any other ethnic group on the planet. And his expectations of the women that he shares those earnings with, or really those blood, sweat, and tears, You know, unfortunately, sisters don't see it that way because I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong in that respect, but I would feel like if they did, they'd
You feel like she don't respect his dollar?
no. I feel like she doesn't respect his. How can I put this without getting myself in trouble?
Lately.
Okay. I feel like she respects his struggle.
Mhm.
However, she can't see beyond her own. And after you struggled long enough without support, it's kind of hard to see somebody else's struggle beyond your own. And let's face it, I mean, at this point in time, I can't recall when black women weren't struggling, you know, and unfortunately, it reflects on the men and what they are. And that's evident in what we see in society as far as how laws are applied in the penal system to what it takes for you to get any type of stability in a career. I mean, it begins from a social economic standpoint, but it also um, is all intertwined with the mental state that people eventually have. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm not trying to get on a pity party here, but just to be truthful, um, black women have done more than enough for quite a time. So, what it's going to take for brothers to actually begin to respect it a little bit more, I don't know. But I look at the fight that a lot of cats put up just in some of the simplest of, of things, and money is simple. Once you look at life as a whole, money is the simplest thing to life, and people put it as though it is the most difficult thing of life, and it isn't. You know, I think that's the trick. That's the trick that the devil truly plays. You know, it makes you think that money can solve your problems. You know, and the reality of it is, money only changes your problems. You know, so how you grow with that newfound reality that money's going to bring you is going to ultimately dictate who you are and who you become.
Was it not Deion Sanders that said, money gonna change my address, my wardrobe?
I think you said it well too. I mean, it is, and when it changes your address and it changes your wardrobe, it changes your circle. You know, and when your circle changes, guess what? You change because you have people that are from henceforth defining you differently. Therefore, the fulfillment you have in your relations with your associates and friends of current, past, and future have now evolved. So you know when a dude be like, you know, she changed, she's supposed to. You
We're
know,
all supposed
we're
to.
all supposed to change because we're all supposed to grow. I mean, we all have our independent journey, and you know what? Because you're on a journey with someone, don't mean you're going to the same destination. You know, people pick up
Or we
hitchhikers.
could be going to the same destination and just taking different routes.
It's true, but
Yeah.
I think we all have our own unique experiences, even though we may share a life together. I have my experiences in life. You
Mhm.
have your experiences in life. Do we have common experiences? Of course we do.
Mhm.
But you still have your journey. I can't take that from you.
Right.
I can't tell you how to live it. I've tried. I've told you what should be important, what should be important. But you know what? Your experiences are going to ultimately dictate how you create your value system. And it's bottom line, your
See,
value system.
that's where you mess up.
How?
I
How?
told you what should be important and what shouldn't be important.
Well, here's the thing. It ain't nothing wrong with me dreaming. That's what life is all about.
Mm.
I can have dreams. I mean, I don't expect it to actually be fulfilled, but I feel like it's my husbandly duty to, you know, at least
To dictate.
no, to point you down the street. to point you down the street that I think is going to take you where I want you to be. Because when you get there, even if you leave before me or after me, we're on the same. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We at the same house. Now, if you want to take your own path, knowing you don't understand how to read maps, that's on you. I'm just saying.
I got map. What is it? I got Google Maps.
I understand, and that's the problem. You listening to Google. Google is an algorithm. He don't know nothing. He ain't had a relationship yet. I'm telling you because I love it, and I know how valuable your time is. You don't know. They don't know. That's what I'm saying. You feel me now? So,
I guess the point is relationships are hard, and people are constantly trying to figure out how to do them.
right. Look, I can't recall anything in my life that I've had that once I truly understood its value, where it was easy.
Yeah.
Love my parents to death. Was the relationship easy? Mm-hmm. Wasn't. I had periods of darkness with them, periods of light. And it ain't gonna be any different than with the one you become one with. You know how hard it is to merge into one thing? You know, it's kind of like making a gold chain. I mean, you don't make it out of pure gold because why? It can't stay together.
Mm-hmm.
It takes two to make a good gold chain. So in order to get those two to bond, it's got to get hot in there. So guess what? Expect for things to get heated.
You're right, Professor.
But I'm just saying, if you want two things to work together, it's just going to require that.
Yeah.
It's just what it is. But
and even after these almost 30 years,
Mhm.
It wasn't easy, but it was pleasant,
I appreciate that.
enjoyable.
Okay.
And you know what? You're a good husband. I mean, you learn well. And once you get it, you pretty much hold on to it. You know, there's a lesson. Every woman teaches her husband a lesson. And some men pretend like they don't get the lesson. Like you're picking up clothes, right?
Mm-hmm.
She'll say, "Oh, you just gonna leave that?" That's her way of saying, "Get your shit. I'm not your maid."
Well, much as I like to agree with something like that, all I'm saying is this: those things will be gotten.
Mm.
Now, it may not be on your time schedule, however, what you need to recognize and realize is that your interest is my interest.
Mm.
So, if I didn't have so many things on my mind, as man, it is, I would.
I'm sorry, what?
Well, this is a little bit chauvinist. I mean, I'm saying, you ever heard her say the woman got the whole world on her shoulders?
Mm.
You never heard that, have you?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. So
But she does.
she does because she is.
Because why? Who wrote that story? I'm sure it was a man.
Oh, it's like that.
Let's be honest.
Well,
Because they're always looking at the woman as a helpmate.
that's not necessarily true now. I mean, because the one who looks at a woman as a helpmate is the one that doesn't know how to lead. Because in life, I think everyone has moments of strength and moments of weakness. So when I'm at my weakest, I need you to carry me. When we at your weakest, I'll carry you. But me carrying you when I'm weak and your legs are scuffing up on the ground from me dragging you because my back broke, it's really not a safe journey. You've been better off walking on your own.
Mm.
So, I think that a lot of people take tradition a bit too far,
Mm.
and some chalk that up to the Bible say, I don't like to get into religion, but at the end of the day, the Bible has plenty of contradictions, and that's because life is full of contradictions.
Mm.
So I don't know. we have to see where time takes us. But I can see one thing for certain. The more gray hair you get,
Mhm.
the better you understand.
Yeah, I'm gonna die that.
Oh no, I got nothing to say about that. I mean, I feel like this. Every day in society, I don't know how many people die per second, but I can tell you one thing about that. I hope those that were wise on the journey try to improve themselves while they were on that journey.
I like to hide my wisdom. You know.
You like to surprise people.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Hey, underestimate me, please.
well, you know what? Yeah, I can understand that. You know, a lot of people say that. I guess I'm one of those type of people who love to have I love accolades.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of your love languages.
Oh yeah. So since I do, well, needless to say, um,
Yes.
yeah, I'll keep my gray. Yeah. So that's
I want us to be walking down the street one day and somebody like, who that old man with that young girl?
we're gonna be in the south or the north. They're gonna be like, how'd that one get away? But yeah, no. I feel you. But yeah.
I think the only disappointment in our marriage is that we didn't have children. And I'm not gonna say it was a disappointment. I would say I wish we were given that gift. Now it's too late now because I'm not interested in it. I mean, children, no. But had we had them, I think it would have, made us different people. Maybe better people.
Well, different, I can say. Yes, I agree to that. Better, I can't say. So I oftentimes, when I just look at TV shows and I see um, children harmed and parents defenseless as they participate in the rat race, and the people that have checked out of the rat race and are basically waiting for an exit, are willing to sacrifice any and everything in order to get out of the rat race, because there's no help for them and they feel helpless. And I don't know if if I would have been willing to accept that lesson. You know, I'm one of those people that's believe that we come back, and if indeed we do come back, um, maybe in my past life I had the experience of loss that I didn't know how to deal with. So maybe this time around as a gift, um, I didn't have children because they knew what it would mean to my heart to lose them. And does that mean I'm right? I don't know. A lot of people say there's no way that the Bible is wrong. Their perspective, their journey. Um, I personally know that I would have been a different person, 100%. However, I also understand this, that whomever that person would have been, or whom this person is right now, I still had the same choice: live or die. Live your life, or die while you live. One or the other. So I don't really look at it like it's I'm disappointed not having children, because I mean, at the end of the day, everything that comes goes. It's all balance. So maybe not this time around. Hopefully next time around. And I always say hopefully next time around because maybe I'm strong enough in the future. But I I don't really, from what I understand of this world that I've been in, I don't trust people enough that I would have had the sanity to have had a child. So I'm glad that you had that kind of confidence in society. That you got. But I'm not that guy. And you as my strength and backbone. Hey, you know, I'm sure I would have murkied myself through those waters.
Yeah, you'd have been a great father.
Right.
Yeah, I know that. Because you're a great dog dad. I mean, the dogs love you. They tolerate me because I feed them. But, it is what it is.
So I'm gonna take that. So am I like the abusive mom that you just love them because I birthed you? Or,
No.
I mean,
But I'm glad you had a chance to experience Thor on your own because that was my defining I'm no longer going to be the strong black woman moment. Because, I mean,
mm-mm, mm-mm. No, I don't think that you're not going to be the strong black woman move because you told me that the first time and the second time and the third time. I said to myself, like, still a strong black woman. You're just a realistic black woman.
no. So when I'm looking at society's version of the strong black woman, this woman who is capable of doing it all with few tears and, no complaints. Because once you complain, you become the angry black woman. So you do it all with very few complaints and you make sure it all gets done. Well, that day solidified in my mind that I was doing too much. Like I was doing way too much as a woman. And to have a whole man at home and still be wanting to do all this was just friggin' ridiculous. Like I'm taking out the trash when you already told me you take it out, but I'm like, no, I want it taken out now, so I'm gonna take it out, right? Um, I'm gonna cut the grass. You're like, well, let's just pace about it. No, I'm gonna cut it because you know it needs to be cut, and I want it done now. And then when I took that dog to the vet, and he showed out to the point where it was not only embarrassing, but I was drenched in sweat, nails broken. I mean, I think he broke my spirit that day.
And the saddest part is this. I think for all that he did that day, I believe it was the people that were there were probably envious at how much your dog loved you. Because at the end of the day, he came in there and he acted that way for no reason.
To protect me.
To protect
I get it.
Oh,
I completely understood
I know
what was going on.
Right.
But I knew that I shouldn't have put myself in that situation.
So sometimes love is just too much.
When a dog would drink your bath water, there's so much love there that it becomes obsession. And then when you got a chance to take him, which I kind of appreciate, I hate it.
I don't think you appreciate it at all. But
I'm sorry that I did not help you in that moment, but in my heart, I was like, I want him to experience what I experienced.
Tears of joy.
Yes.
I'll say this. I probably didn't experience everything that you experienced. I probably got better than you. Oh, you're gonna do because you don't really like me as much as he likes you. So I can only tell you this: you got some dangerous love there.
Yeah.
But he loves you though.
But I knew then I was doing too much. Like, and I think so many women out there do that. I don't know about, women outside of my circle, but I know the women in my circle do that. They do everything. And they have men, You know?
Well, I think the main reason that a lot of women do those things, in my personal opinion, is because they want to prove to the man they deserve more responsibility. Because men just don't trust women to do a lot of things. You know,
Mm-mm. I'm gonna have to disagree with that.
okay,
I think it has more to do with she doesn't trust that he's going to do it.
she,
Yeah, I think that's the point. Like she doesn't. If a woman say, "I need these things done,"
Mhm.
and men, you know how men are, they don't want to be bossed. They don't want to be told, "This is what you know." I don't work for you. I'm your
Well,
husband.
I'm gonna stop you right
No, no, seriously.
there. I am too.
And so women
I'm a-
in their mind are thinking,
but you
well,
just
let me do it.
Right? I understand that. But didn't you just say the same thing about yourself previously?
Hmm.
That you as a woman don't want to be boss. So what you're saying is you're afraid, or women are afraid, that men are gonna treat them, but they don't want to be treated worse. I mean, I'm really not getting what you're saying because what you're stating is the obvious in some respects. To say that you don't feel like women feel like men are gonna do it, right? So since it won't get done
And that's
unless
why-
you do it, you feel like it needs to be done, right?
Yes.
How
But that's why I'm saying they have become these characteristic strong black women because they have always been, even going back to being in home with the parents, right? I remember my dad working, me having to take care of my siblings during the day, you know, because he was driving trucks and gone for, you know, we got out of school, came home, we made whatever food that was there. And later on, he would get off from work, we took baths and went to bed. But I had all this responsibility as a child, being the oldest of, you know, 5 siblings. And then you go into relationships having all this responsibility in your head. Like you got to get it done. Like you got to do all of these things because you don't trust that it's not going to get done.
Well, I think if you try to live someone else's relationship through your own eyes,
It ain't somebody else's relationship.
No, when I say
It's the trauma, as I was saying before, that these women bring into these relationships.
agreed. However, I'm still saying that you've taken the models that others have had throughout your childhood, whoever that woman was, you identified and latched onto. That's how you should do things in your relationship. And at the end
You
of it,
missed my point.
I did.
Yeah. Because I'm not modeling anything. These are the traumas that we have been raised with.
I didn't say you were modeling. I said you were following models.
It's not.
So you don't do the roles that you feel other women in your life have done?
No. Other women in my life, most of them are mothers, and you know.
But I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that a man is a child, but
You kind of like one. I mean,
yeah. I mean, you're right. I like it when you call me daddy, so I feel you. You know, so I ain't mad at you, but I'm just set to say it.
no, you like it when I call you boy.
You see what I'm saying?
The boy.
See what I'm saying? Whatever. So, like I said, I feel you on that. I mean, but
Women bring trauma to their relationships, and men don't understand the trauma.
Well, I'm confused. What is it that because
and men do too. But what I'm saying is going back to the conversation we had earlier.
is
I was
that role
talking
identification states that the man should have handled his in a better
No.
manner than you? No, truly, it must be. Because
See, right now you're trying to pit women against men, and I'm not trying to do that.
I'm not trying to do
I'm
that.
expressing a
As-
point,
as-
and it ain't got to be. You don't have to always jump on the male side because you got a habit of doing that. You jump on the male side, and you'll get on this. Nah, cause he, you know,
No.
it ain't no different from you watching Kevin Samuels videos all the time. You find that completely hilarious.
I do.
How that's what I'm saying. But you see a lot of stuff from a male perspective. I get that you're a man, but when I say women bring trauma from having to be the strong black girl in their families to the strong black woman in their relationships, they're forced into these roles. I didn't have to be forced into the role. I took it on because I had lived it previously.
Okay. Now, here's something I'm going to say. Grant, I'm not disagreeing with that at all. However, I think that bringing trauma into a relationship and dealing with constant trauma in a relationship, um, the constant trauma in a relationship is probably a little more challenging. Now, hear me out when I say living with the constant trauma. You know, I know it would seem like that if the woman is the one being degraded and being belittled throughout society, that'll be the woman's problem alone because she's the one, right? She's the victim. But it's kind of like watching someone you love get beaten. You don't enjoy seeing it. So I say that to say this. Well, if you don't like them, you don't care. But as soon as you
I
love
may like them, and then I'm like, you serve that.
well,
but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It still hurt.
Yeah. And I only say that to say this, that it's unfortunate that a lot of African American women are beaten down in this society. I mean, in the onset of this conversation, we talked about that. And from there, it's just a matter of you trying to live up to an expectation that's different than the one that's portrayed by society. Because the thing is, the person that you think that would be your paternal um, um, protector is your greatest foe. You know, because black men are the ones that who are at the helm of degrading black women, not white men. Black men are. So, you know, the thing is, for those black men who do try to respect their wives and their girlfriends and the ones that they love outside of their mothers are challenged by other black men. Because why? It's not what you're supposed to do. And whoever made that new rule and turned us that way against each other, I don't know. But I can only tell you it's a reality. It's not a fallacy. So if that is indeed the case, when a black man is trying to love a black woman, you're going to have more black men hedging against those relationships because guess what? They didn't have the balls to do it. And since they didn't have the balls to do it, they out of spite, because don't mean they ain't love somebody. They had somebody that they had that they wanted to love before. But when they couldn't get theirs, they said, fuck everybody else. You know what? I don't care about that. You know what? And I'm gonna prove to this nigga that he don't love her like you think he do. And in saying that, I'm saying this, that it's difficult for black men to trust black women just because of that, because they're always constantly degraded. But you know, that's the difference in the classes amongst us. And that's why people divide the way they do amongst African American fellowship. You know, because certain people perpetuate their ideology and others don't. You know, and the ones that perpetuate that reality are usually people in poverty. And unfortunately, almost 70% of African American children in this country come from single mothers. Well, guess what? You want to be in poverty, 50% of them come from black men. So if that's indeed the case, you have those type of black men more than you have the other. Because they are the dominant men in African American culture. And the sad part is this, you know, it's not just us. As much as I would like to say it's us, it's not an us thing, it's a society thing. It's the same thing in white America too. You know, because at the end of the day, chaos pays, not peace. You can't sell a gun when nobody want to kill anyone. You can't build a prison when don't nobody see a problem in the other person. So don't think it's these people alone. We as society have to change the way people perceive how each other cares about them. Because until we're able to get to that point, nobody can have a truly healthy relationship without working overtime to do it. And it's hard to work overtime to do it when guess what? Everything costs more. You have to spend more time outside. You truly have to have a bond in order to have that relationship because they make it that way. And you know the chances of it actually existing probably about 30%. While your divorce rate about 60. Then you got that other 10 to say, "Fuck it, let's stay together because it's cheaper." I mean, I do understand where you're at, but I'm saying don't forget those brothers. You know, I hate to say it. You know, I'm not saying that sisters ain't done a great job given what they had to deal with. You know, you had to deal with Vietnam in the 70s, Reaganomics in the 80s, crack cocaine from the 90s on, and from there after them 4 decades into the early 2000s, it was over. You destroyed. I mean, we're gonna catch up. It's gonna take us 300 years to catch up to actually build that construct all over again. And you know, the sad part is this: as long as we all pretend as though we all think alike, it can never go anywhere. How can everybody think alike? Things keep getting worse. So when we gonna decide to do something different? I mean, is it factual based? If it is, something should have told us a long time ago things need to be done differently. Because I don't know about you, if I go to my job and it's commission based, and every day I go there, I never get a sale. Why would I not want to change the way my approach with my sales process? It's the same thing with life. If everything you do fails, why would you not want to change your process? And how can I measure that failure? I don't measure that failure how much money I got. Because look at all the outliers. You got all these great athletes, right? Making millions of dollars. But they say the average African American, well, hell, LeBron James got $1 billion by himself. How many black folks do you put into this LeBron James and average dad? I mean, he's probably making $300 million a year. You could probably put 30,000 black folks in there, and then say the average black person is making $70,000 a year just off LeBron's income in a year. How realistic is that? You know, and that's the thing. The more we are truly educated into understanding what's behind the numbers that we see, the easier it is to accept things need to be done differently. But as long as there's someone out there willing to manipulate the data and make you believe differently, you'll never want to do anything. And trust me, one thing I can assure you is that anyone who's ever been broke and got it, he ain't trying to let it go easy. He'll fight to the end. And that's what you see. People fighting to the end to keep what they feel is what's best. But really it's not. Because truly, if it's not best for all, it's not best for one. Because it's not sustainable. And that's what we're seeing now.
But that's why they keep promoting this individualistic perspective.
Exactly. And it's easy to
force people into these pockets.
Right. And it's easy to do it. Yeah. You know, and I think the main reason it's easy to do it is because, you know, people have felt like they have not been supported for so long. Mm-hmm. It's the norm. And I think once something becomes the norm, you know, that means you have to completely reconstruct the value system in order for a new norm to come about. And it took them a long time to do that to the African American community. Because when we came out of slavery, out of the early 1800s into the early 1900s, when African Americans were just like all the other ethnic groups that came to this country, and we wanted to be independent business owners and everything else, they tore down so many different things. And trust me, don't get me wrong, I'm not blaming them. Because at the end of the day, blaming them ain't going to fix the issue. So it doesn't matter why the issue occurred. What matters is it did occur. And what is going to be done so the future does not continue to look like the present. That's what's most important. You know, they talk about reparations. It's a dream. Because if they wanted to restore you, they'd have never destroyed you. You know, who breaks a car to fix it intentionally? It makes no sense. So I don't anticipate that it will ever come about. You know, what they'll give you is access. And in their mind, and when I say their mind, I mean systematically. I'm not talking about Caucasians. I'm talking the system sees it that way. Because America is a system. Yeah. The system sees
America's
it
a
that way.
corporation.
It's a corporation. And the corporation says, well, what can we do?
Yeah.
What can we do to keep the best of the best? I mean, think about it. We're responsible for what percentage of the athletes in the world? How is that? It's pretty simple. Breading. How would they breed us? I don't know. You tell me. Seems like it worked out pretty well right now, though.
Mm.
Great entertainment. What? None of the leadership positions, quarterbacks in the NFL. We have more and more African American quarterbacks. However, thing is, their careers are always short lived, relative to Caucasians. And I look at this one brother that's in the NFL right now. Anthony Richardson is his name. Phenomenal athlete. Scored the strongest metrics ever in NFL history as a quarterback. Period. So they're saying he should be the best quarterback ever in NFL. And through 2 weeks in the NFL, he's already had his knee hurt. He left early in that game, and he's not even going to play in week 3 because he's already had a concussion. And that is because the expectation is different. The expectation is for him to come in and let's see that blazing speed you got, that's running back speed. Let's see that linebacker strength. It's not his job. His job is to come out there and direct the soldiers. You're a general. The general does not go in front of the troops to win the war. He stays in the back and directs the soldiers in the right manner and to create correct timing for the mission to be successful. If you're on the sideline in bandages, we can't win. But you know what? That's how he feels he's relevant because that's what is expected to do. Right? That's what Phil sees. So if you want
Going back to the trauma.
right, the trauma, you want things to be different, you have to set different expectations.
Yeah.
But, I've enjoyed this.
That's right.
Thank you, bro. We'll see you next time. Yeah, we really want to end it.